You're welcome to another edition of Beyond Me podcast with Ben Peletu. And on today's edition, I'm with a friend, a journalist. Uh, Let me call him one of my guy in Osun State. He's doing well in the field of journalism. He's a journalist by profession, and he's also the aide to Governor Adeleke. I'm talking about no other person. Sola is Sola. You're welcome on the show, Sola.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I say well done to the team.
All right. You're welcome. We're happy to see you. How's been everything?
Well, we give glory to God Almighty.
Government.
Well, so far so good.
How are you able to navigate from being a journalist and right now working with the governor?
Well, over the years I have been told and I have read in various books that the reward of hard work is more work. I was on my own, doing my thing in the field when the offer was made on the recommendation of, somebody that I hold in high esteem.
Okay.
And I remember clearly that I was in Lagos at the time when the appointment was made, and I was called to come to Osun to get the appointment letter. I didn't come. I waited for about a week considering options. I was in between declining the appointment and taking the appointment because I understand the political implication or undertone that such appointment would create, which of course happened when I eventually took the appointment. And then after a while I consulted with few senior colleagues in the field, family members, and I decided to then come to Osun and pick up the appointment letter. And I think that there's been an exposure, for some of us who was not only a journalist, but at some time being a critic of government activities. It has been an exposure to the system that is operated in the political space of Nigeria, and I think is what the experience.
Would you say because you were once served as a critic to the past government, that was why they actually gave you this office, being an heir to the government?
I don't think so. Because when I joined, there were some number of people who are in the PDP and the government who thought I was, a member of the APC, who were not glad that I was offered the appointment. And the person who recommended me at that time didn't even know that I was a critic of the past government.
Okay.
All right. So, and then I remember that when I resumed and they told him some things about me, he came and asked me about it. And I told him, I said, I don't belong to any political party. Whatever I did before this appointment came, I did for the sake of Osun State. And that is what I would always do. I would always stand where I think that the interest of Osun State will be protected. And that's where I still stand.
Were you doing those critics then because you were a journalist, or because you have the love of people at heart, or because you were trying to at least practice one of the major tasks of a journalist, being a watchdog?
Well, as a journalist, honestly speaking, your job is not to criticize. You serve as a watchdog. And so you ask questions. You ask questions as to why this is not done or why this is done.
That is the sole
and your
responsibility.
job is to report what is done, what is said, and what is done. But as a critic, you can take a stand, against a government decision, right? And then you make your opinion known, right? I remember that I was one of the people who opposed the decision of Governor Oyinlola to construct the Olaya flyover. And I had my reasons. My reason then was that the Olaya junction, as we had it before Governor Oyinlola did that flyover, was wide enough. Accident was quoted as a reason, but of course, even on roads that are wide enough, accident happen. So accident cannot be the reason for construction of a flyover. But the government of Governor Oyinlola then decided to go ahead, and I did something. I remember that when the contract was awarded to Peculiar Ultimate Concern, I raised a flag then that I wasn't sure that was a wise decision. Of course, it was later defended, right? But then they told us that it was going to be constructed in 1 year. And that is when I decided to start counting days. And so
Yes, I remember you were counting days then.
So I went to my Facebook page and I was counting day after day of that construction. It took more than a year as it was promised. But I made sure that every day every day throughout the construction, I was counting days until it was. So it's something I took upon myself so that people of Osun State will remember that, okay, they told us this thing will be done in 1 year, but it wasn't done in 1 year. That's just a personal decision, right? It's not because maybe I was a journalist. People who know me from my days in primary and secondary school have known me to be somehow a leftist. When everybody's going right, I might be going left, and I would defend my left regardless of the number of people going right. And that's how I was brought up. I'm not somebody who would align where behind lie because I want to profit my pocket for any reason. That's not the kind of person.
I just felt that there was a kind of challenge on the other side. I'm talking about the past government. The fact that they knew that somebody was outside there looking at us. Somebody was out there looking at our success rates. Who is checking, who is making a daily post about what is going on with the bridge. And that will actually give them a kind of challenge that we don't need to fuck up. We have to work with time. Like according to you said they used more than a year.
Of course.
That could have been the contractors' fault. It might not be the government's fault. And it could happen to anybody.
It wasn't necessarily the contractors. I remember clearly that the day he clocked the year, the then Commissioner for Works made a statement that it was due to increment in cost of materials. It was also due to rain that started. It was all of those things were not factored in before they started, and then that was the excuse they gave us. They never even blamed the contractor.
They were original excuses.
So,
Do you agree?
Well, they were excuses. There are no original or fake excuses. Excuses.
There were feeble excuses. There were feeble excuses.
No excuse. Still an excuse. You describe it as feeble because you think it's weak, but it's an excuse,
yes.
right? An original excuse can be weak. It could be the original excuse, but it can be weak. But that's the excuse, that's the excuse that was, given to us as at that time. Well, you see, the truth is the purpose of activism, the purpose of criticism of government is to put government on its toes. But where we are missing it in Nigeria, and especially in Osun State, is the fact that people now peddle fake news, peddle propaganda, and then decide to claim that it is opposition or criticism. These are two different things. There are constructive criticism, and there are criticism that is done on the basis of hatred, and that's the difference. That's where I draw the curtain. If you are criticizing because you want things to be done better, it's acceptable. It's fine. It's fine to criticize. But when it becomes that you begin to tell lies to the people because you want to incite them against them, that's where
because
I draw
you want
the curtain.
to feel acceptable,
or you want them to accept you now. That's where I draw the curtain.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Sola. When you were not in the government, like you said now, you criticize the government, make them to do the right thing. And now, what would you have done differently if you were not part of this Adeleke government? What would you have criticized in this particular government if you are not part of them?
Well, you see, if I was not in this government, I would have continued my criticism on policies of government, decisions of government, and the likes.
Okay.
Now, being a part of the government, I still do that.
How?
But I do it within.
Within?
Yes, because I'm supposed to serve as the watchdog within the system.
Within the system.
And then
why not without?
No. The standpoint has changed.
How?
Because now it means that before a decision is made and goes public, I can influence it from going public.
Okay.
I can say when it's being discussed, and I can say, I think this thing is wrong. Why not let's do it this way? You see, most times at the time when when I was outside of government, at the time when we criticized some of these decisions, it has already been made to be it has already been signed and sealed. For instance, when we were criticizing, I wasn't doing what we criticized Olaya flyover.
You were part of people that criticized.
As a matter of fact, there was a group, Transparency and Accountability Group, that took the then governor to EFCC and ICPC on Olaya flyover. But Olaya flyover was still constructed. Despite the fact that it was described as waste of resources, it was still constructed. And
it's been useful for the people who are against you.
So that's the point. That's the point about projects. Either we like it or not, either I like it or not, I drive on Olaya flyover.
Definitely.
It does not mean that I agree with the decision. As at the time, it was timing. As at the time it was taken. I drive in Osogbo every day of my life. The Okefia junction was already a problem. Anytime you are going to, back home in the evening around 5-6 p.m., there's traffic in Okefia. because Okefia roundabout has outlived its purpose. And then there are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, about seven linking roads connected to one roundabout. So at that time, what we needed was expansion of road from Old Garage to Okefia to Lameko.
Okay.
What we needed was the removal of that roundabout at Okefia Junction to a traffic lights connected road. That was what was needed at that time. But instead of that, the Oyinlola administration decided to go to Olaya Flower. That's what I was widely. You remember it was in this Honorable Sola that Olaya Junction was constructed. Many buildings were pulled down there for that junction to be constructed. So how did it lose its purpose within 2 years or 3 years of the government of the same government? This government that succeeded it. And there are other. I mean, we kept saying there were other places that the government can do, but because we were outside the government, we cannot influence the decision of a system that we are not part of. We can only criticize from outside the government. But now, being a part of the system, we can criticize within the system that we are a part of and ensure that the decision is made. And that is why we often call on youth now to join either any political party of their choice and be the watchdog within the system. Let them call you names. Today, I'm not going to mention names, but today, within our system, some people don't like people like me, but I don't mind. As far
within your
as
system, how do you mean within your system? How do you mean
the current administration?
So people don't like you.
Yes.
Basically because of your opinion.
Of course, opinions, because of a differing opinions. But the idea is, it is to the success of Osun State. And of course, even in life, everybody cannot like you. As long as it is about value, it's about what I stand for.
Even in the same political party, there are purposes.
Of course. So that's the curtain that covers criticism and governance.
Let's come back home.
All right.
You are being born and raised in Iwo.
Yeah.
You are from Iwo. And talking about Osun government, Iwo takes a larger part in talking about the election processes and things like the election mechanization and things like that. And looking back from the days of Osun State, and Iwo people representing their people at the state level, would you say the politicians in Iwo have been fair enough to this time?
Well, I think that sometimes I don't know in terms of what you're asking anyway. When you mean being fair, there are different, it can be interpreted in different ways.
Let me say this.
You should be clear.
Let me say this. In terms of development, in terms of infrastructural value, in terms of road networking, we have people who have represented.
Now,
we have SSG from this town.
Let me
we have media head from this town. We have commissioner from this town. We have several commissioners, and yet it looked like Iwo is still the same Iwo in the past.
Let me cut you. When you talk about representation, right? We often clamor. And this is something I stand for. I fought a number of political appointees in the previous government and even in this government that I made sure I made it clear to them that they're from Iwo, that I made it clear too that you're not doing well for us, which is my stand. All right. In the previous administrations, I did the same thing, making my points to them clear that, look, I feel that you can do more than you're doing for Iwo. All right. We would not. Development is a journey, right? Development is in phases. When something is done at a certain stage, another one will be done, right? I often fight when people say that, oh, maybe it has been neglected. Yeah. Before now, I have called out a number of people, but see. Let me give you the instance of Iwo-Osogbo Road, for instance. Iwo-Osogbo Road, for instance, does not connect to Iwo alone.
Of course.
We coming from Osogbo. Iwo-Osogbo Road covers a part of Egbedore local government. Then Aide local government. It covers Olaoluwa local government. Covers Iwo local government. There are about 5 local governments that are covered. Why is it that it is only the people of Iwo that are called out for that road? What happened to the remaining people from the 4 local governments that road is spread across? we are not the only ones that will benefit from the road. Iwo is not the only local government or town that will benefit from the road. There are influential political office holders from the remaining local government too, who has never for once even deemed it fit. What everybody says is Iwo Oshogbo Road. As if when you leave Oshogbo, you land in Iwo. There are places, there are other towns and local government you pass through on that same road before you get to Iwo. And Iwo is not even the end of the road. Because after Iwo, there are still other towns that are not under this local government that will still benefit from the same road. All right. In terms of road, to be honest with you, before this current administration, we've had to fight to make requests for roads to be constructed. But then there are other policies of government, and that's how government is, wide. Infrastructure-wise is what everybody looks at when we talk about development because it's physical. But there are other benefit of government that we describe as social services that is not only that you cannot probably see by your face. For instance, when this administration decided to approve a new minimum wage, that cuts across the entire state. Iwo cannot be removed from that. When the government decided that we're okay, all pensioners in the state will be enrolled in the free, health insurance scheme, that cuts across the entire state. Iwo cannot be removed from it. When the government decided, okay, we're enrolling all people with disabilities into the health insurance scheme, that's also something that Iwo benefited from. I remember also that I was one of the people that came with the governor to Iwo when they did the free Imole medical outreach that was done in the general hospital. So and there are other interventions of government, in this agency, for instance, Community Service Development Agency. In fact, the head of that agency is an indigenous of this town. And there are a number of series of projects, school, classrooms, dispensaries, healthcare centers that are being constructed, including the boreholes in communities that lack, edible and potable water. Okay. So in terms of what everybody looks at when we talk about development is more of physical. Meanwhile, government's duty extends beyond physical. Now, when this administration came, for instance, there was an approval in the first 100 days. I remember there was an approval for a kilometer road, and then in the second phase of the 1 year administration, another approval was given for 1.5 kilometer road within Iwo, and then now the government has approved again that they're going to be dualizing, Odori to Ojale to Adeleke,
which was stated to commence in January. Oh yes, we have not seen anything.
No, so that's the
people have actually that is the reports outside there that the government stated that they are going to commence the project January, and this is the end of January right now. Yes. We have not seen anything.
Now you see, that's the efficacy of government. When the governor says something, I'm telling you that the paperwork would have been ready, all right, and then contractor will be mobilized to site. But don't forget that dualization of roads includes conducting a town hall meeting with residents of that community, includes consulting, meeting individuals whose houses will be affected. You can't just start demolition without doing that. Those are the background things that will be done before we embark on dualization. Otherwise, there will be crisis. What's happening right now is that consultation is being done with residents of that area, those areas that will be affected,
those properties,
before you now begin to see tractors. If you bring tractor now, crisis will start. What the government said is dualization. You cannot just start demolition without consulting. So consultation will be done. When that is done, the mobilization will be done to site. If you mobilize to site now, it will just beat those people up.
So it's now look like Governor Adeleke understood what the political figures in Iwo have done to you, and right now trying to redeem that particular image. Probably, don't you think it's a technique for Adeleke to at least win Iwo for the next governorship election?
Let me be clear. I'm one of the people who believe that Iwo has been badly represented. And I'm saying this categorically.
That was my point the other day. I asked you the question.
I don't mean to denigrate those people that did it. Those people who represented Iwo.
Okay.
They've tried their best in their own right. But I stand to say that Iwo has not been well represented. because I believe that by the virtue of the people that we've had in previous governments, at the state, even at the federal level, we should have seen more things done in Iwo than it is done now. Today, in the history of Iwo, Aide Oyinlola, we have somebody, I mean, we have had people go to the National Assembly before, and with the exception of Senator Oyinlola, every other person that went there just went there. You can hardly remember anything any of them did after 4 years or 8 years in office. That's why I said with the exception of Senator Oyinlola, because at least to an extent, we saw a number of things that they did. And it's a challenge to me, because I'm from Iwo, and a challenge to the remaining youth in Iwo land, because we cannot continue to have people represent us who cannot defend our interests. Today, the senator representing Osun West, though not from Iwo, is constructing road in Iwo.
That's loud.
We've never had that before.
Definitely.
Right? Governor Adeleke, that is not from Iwo, because of course, a number of times they will say, he's just focusing on other time, whatever. He's also doing laudable things in Iwo. Then the question becomes, what about the people who are our own sons? So that's where we need to come together, and build our own heritage, because nobody will do it for us. That is the truth.
And my question now is, the fact that Adeleke is doing something in Iwo, don't you think it's for a political reasons, just for to win Iwo? The general election, the governorship election is coming by 2026.
Yeah.
And there are reports that says that governor is trying to woo Iwo, trying to cajole people in Iwo, so that probably you will actually win.
That's a parochial view.
Okay.
Because either we like it or not, either Governor Adeleke does anything in office or not, election will come.
Of course.
The number of people in Iwo who likes him will vote for him.
Of course.
The number of people who didn't like him before, who now do, will vote for him. All right. So winning election, in fact, you can even be the best governor and still lose the election. Because winning election, there are strategical ways to win election. That sometimes the worst person wins the election, and we've seen that happen in so many states in Nigeria, that the worst person will win an election. All right. So Governor Adeleke, in his first 100 days, said that his focus is to move Osun from the area away from the infrastructural deficit and that we've had. And that is why he first of all made sure that some of the projects that were abandoned, in the administration of Governor Sola, and also abandoned in the administration of Oyinlola, was completed. If he was only caring about votes, he would not even touch those ones before he faces Iwo. So it's about, first of all, okay, what do we meet on ground? Let's complete them. Then let's take on new projects. That's why Elisha was also taken. That's why Ife was taken. That's why Iwo was taken. So beyond just winning election, this is about development. This is about infrastructural development. It's not necessarily because he wants to win an election. It's about the fact that some projects have been left, some towns have been, abandoned, and now they are getting the government attention. And that is the ultimate for me.
All right. What will you say to this? Right now, you are highlighting those projects that Governor Adeleke is executing till now. Even in Iwo, different contract has been awarded to people in different towns in Osun State. And right now, a few weeks ago, we had a chit-chat moment with a stakeholder in Osun here and a political figure in Osun State here. And it made it clear that those projects were just cosmetic projects. What will you say to this?
That's a very demeaning statement. That's a very sentimental statement. And it's unfortunate, that anybody will wake up and say cosmetics. What it means to construct a flyover, it cannot be called cosmetics.
We're not even talking about flyover now.
No,
we're talking about those road construction going on in different towns in Osun State. It's been said that they are cosmetic projects.
Well, I like it when people who are not experts speaks. Because it's clear the intention.
How do you mean by they are not experts?
Is the person an expert in road construction?
He's a political figure in Osun State.
Is he an expert?
He may not be an expert, but he has been in the government for so many years.
You have not answered my question.
He's not a contractor. He's not an engineer.
He has been in government for many years. Does not qualify him to conduct a quality test on any road. He has no certificate.
No, what he meant by cosmetics is that those projects are not really necessary comparing to the welfareism of people in Osun State.
Which one is not necessary?
Those projects being constructed around Osun State.
The Telemogba Ilemo road that has not been constructed in the last 30 years.
He said there are major roads. Like Iwo Osogbo Road you mentioned, that has not been constructed.
So let me give you the backdrop. Iwo Osogbo Road, before Adeleke came to government, has been awarded. It was an agreement between Oyo State government and Osun State government, then Seyi Makinde and Oyinlola. So there was an existing contract on that road before Adeleke came. Now the question is, this person who said it's cosmetics, he was a part of the government that led Osun from 2010 to 2018.
Okay.
Where was his voice? He was the part of the people that was in the government that led Osun from 2018 to 2022. Where was his voice? The road in front of his school in Iwo is being constructed now. Where was his voice those days that road was left abandoned? So let's be honest. You see, I that's why I said I like it when people who are experts speaks, because you can tell from their voices that this one knows what he's saying. This is not about just criticizing government. It's rhetorics. When you come and say, "Oh, it's cosmetics," it's cosmetics. If it's cosmetics, when it's done, won't he drive on the road? It's not about, when people claim that because a lot of people criticize for the sake of criticism, because they are politicians and they are in the opposing camp, but we need to be honest with ourselves. I'll give you an instance. Yesterday morning, I was with a friend, somebody you know, but I won't mention him. And then another person that you also know, call him. But the other person is in the other camp, the opposition party. He now called this my friend who is in the ruling party, that there was something done, that a decision of this government that he wants somebody in his family to benefit from. Mm-hmm. How should he go about it? Mm-hmm. My friend now asked him and said, "But you criticized us on social media for this same policy you want your family member to benefit from." And he said, because he said that's politics now.
Was the person asking too much?
He wasn't asking too much. Because
so the father is criticizing on the Facebook does not mean that you should not shouldn't have gotten that favor.
Hold on. I didn't say he didn't get the favor.
Okay.
I said he had criticized the same policy on social media. That's hypocrisy.
Okay.
You don't criticize something and then go behind the scene. Will he go back on social media? Will he go back on social media and announce that he wants to benefit from it? A number of young people in Osun today, and I'm not saying this because I want to boast, will come to my DM on Facebook and send their account number, and I will decline. Because somehow I work with, not even somehow, I work with Adeleke. Apart from my side hustles, that is my main job now. So somehow if you ask me for money, you're asking for money from Adeleke. And you then go on Facebook and say, dancing governor that is not doing anything. And then you send your account number to my DM. For what?
Have you ever criticized Adeleke before he came to government?
Did I criticize Adeleke before he came? Not, I didn't. You see, that's what I'm saying. That I criticize government. It wasn't when Oyinlola was governor of Osun State. My criticism was not on Oyinlola.
No, I'm talking about, have you ever criticized the Adeleke personality before he became governor?
Well, you see, that's also one of the issues with the Nigerian political system. Most times we don't know the number of people. We just know them by. And then when I remember clearly that when Governor Adeleke became popular, it was when he wanted to go to Senate, and then some videos were trending,
yes.
And it was about him dancing. Yes. And then he came later and said, "Oh, that's my hobby." And a number of people accepted it. Okay, well,
it's not a crime.
That's your hobby. But then this is where it became interesting. I remember I told you that I at the point when I was appointed, I was skeptical because I wanted to know who is this person I want to work with. But eventually, I took on the appointment. But then, the man who has been underrated, the man who has said, who they said cannot speak good English or cannot read or write, the man who everybody said is only going to be dancing, he came and paid and is paying back debt incurred by the people that was described as intellects. He's paying back salary arrears that is owed by the people that was described, because I didn't describe them, that was described as intellect. He's completing projects that is abandoned by the people that was described as intellect. He's doing things that the people that were described as intellect could not do. Let me give you one instance. If you are driving into Osogbo from Dele Esa roundabout to Ilisha Garage roundabout, in the 4 years of Governor Oyinlola, they could not complete installation of street lights for 4 years. Go there today, as I'm speaking to you, it's been completed in less than 2 years. The entire Osogbo stretch is being covered by solar street lights. And Governor Adeleke had said all the road construction that has been done in Iwo, in Ifeo, in Ilesha will be fixed with solar street lights. This is 2 years of a government of the same man that was underrated. What else does anybody need to prove that the man is intelligent enough to know governance, despite the fact that his hobby is to dance? You cannot take it from him. We all have our hobbies too. That's the point.
Do you love Adeleke because you were part of the government, or you just have this personal feelings for him? The reason why I'm asking this question is because in the space of 4 weeks, you were able to bring out a very disturbing piece that were trending online, most importantly in Osun State. One, you titled it, What Can Adeleke Not Do? And the second one is titled, The Entropy State of Osun Before Adeleke. And I felt like, was it based on love or based on performance?
Well, you see, I'm somebody who does, I do a number of things, and I would have thought it through before I ever attempt to do it. I'm a part of this government. I've been part of the government for the last 2 years. We were set up with the first set of people that was appointed. The government came in November 27, 2022. We were appointed in December. And so to an extent, I've been part of the entire process of governance in the last 2 years of Osun State. And if you read the piece, I was giving analysis based on performance metrics in comparison to the last 2 administrations of Osun State. And I dare anybody to challenge it. Because when I was writing that piece, I knew there would be arguments, there would be face-off, there would be people that would disagree. And I expect to have seen a response anyway, but I haven't seen any. If anybody feels like what I said in those pieces was wrong, I expect to see, a piece challenging me or say I lied. Now, for me as a person, Adeleke as a person wowed me. Okay. Because if like you were asking if I liked him or not, he's a human being, I can't hate him. If it was about him alone, maybe I won't take the appointment. Okay. But like I said, it's a call to service for the people of Osun State, and I must contribute my quota because I belong here and I'm from here, and I have every right to contribute my quota.
All right, let's quickly go on this a short break, and when we come back, I'll be talking about your piece, your 2 pieces that you wrote for Ademola Adeleke. That is, I'm talking about the entropy state of Osun before Ademola Adeleke, and what can Adeleke not do. So after we come back from that break, then we'll dive into that.
Beyond me, John me podcast, inspirational, motivational. John me podcast, political debate, gospel entertainment. Beyond me podcast.
You're welcome back. We are still on Beyond Me podcast. I'm with Sola, media aide to Governor. The governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Jackson Adeleke. And we have been talking about the state affair in general. And right now, there's a question talking about the piece you wrote for Governor Ademola Adeleke, what can Adeleke not do, and the entropy of Adeleke before he became governor. And there is a report here. You said in a paragraph, I think paragraph 4 or 5, of that first piece, you said the domestic debt of Osun was about around 148.37 billion as at December 2022, when Governor Adeleke was sworn in. but it has now reduced to 86.06 billion naira as at June 2024. In the same manner, foreign debt of Osun was as at December 2022 was $91.78 million, but it has now reduced to 78.17 million as at June 2024. How are you able to affirm this report? Because there were reports that says it's a fake one, it's an audio one. It's not real.
You see, well, for a very long time, I've been a political observer in Osun State. I mean, beyond, but at 1999, I'd been conscious of the political space. And so I witnessed 1999, 2003. I witnessed 2003 to 2007. I witnessed 2007 to 2010. I witnessed 10 to 18. I witnessed 18 to 22. And I know the major political actors in Osun at that time. I said that to say this. Your last guest, who you said is a political stalwart or leader or whatever.
He is a chieftain in APC or Osun State.
He's a chieftain.
Yeah.
You should know the source. If he's a chieftain, true, who knows his onions, you should know.
He is. You know,
hold on.
He's a very big politician in Osun State.
Let me land. Regardless, any politician, active politician who knows his onions, you should know that a statistics like debt profile is not something any state government can lie about.
Where can we confirm this report?
Let me land. Okay. You should know that in Nigeria today, Nigeria has a National Bureau of Statistics. And Nigeria has a debt management office.
Okay.
Debt management office, they don't have two jobs than to monitor debt of state and federal government. Monitor when you take the debt, when you return the money, how you return the money, percentage of the amount you have returned, and they often release figures as time goes on. This figure is available on their website, it's available on NBS website, even independent verifiers like StatiSense on Twitter. This figure is there. So when we call people political, whatever, they should know things like this. And it's always very sad when people we refer to as leaders don't know these things and they come and blind themselves on platforms like yours. This is not something I came up with. It's a figure that is available in the debt management office, and anybody who wants to challenge it should write them and request for the current debt profile of Osun State. When their own government was in Osun, till they left, they never released the figure of Osun's debt profile. It was when Adeleke became governor that for the first time the debt profile was released, and they even argued that it was a lie until debt management office confirmed it. This is the current stand as of June 24. This is the current stand of the debt profile of Osun State, and I stand to be challenged anywhere on this figure because I didn't create the figures. Okay. You see, today in Nigeria, there are things that the state government cannot lie about. Allocations. Either you like it or not, federal government will release the figures through MBS and through FAAC. Those are the two agencies that manages the allocation that each state government receives with the breakdown. So no state government can lie about any amount it receives on a monthly basis. That's one. Two, debt profile. No state government can lie about it. MBS will release the figure, DMO will release the figure. So why would anybody be aroused and claim that, okay, when he said it was a lie, did he give you his own figures? Did they give you any figure to say that, okay, this is the current stand? They won't be able to give you figures because for them is to propel fake news, challenge government for whatever government says, and then, lie about whatever they want to say. This, I say again, is the current stand as of June 2024 of the debt profile of Osun State, and I stand to be challenged anywhere in the world. If they have an alternating figure, they should bring it out and let's discuss it.
In your first piece, you talked about how Governor Adeleke paid a salary and increase, goes with the minimum wage, the new minimum wage being implemented by the federal government. And you also talked about how former governor in person of Governor Sola was paying half salary. And now that Governor Adeleke is actually paying this salary, would you say is an achievement on any part of the government? A serious governor Would you say paying salary regularly, not owing the civil servants, is an achievement?
Well, I have had this, argument on several fora. I don't often want to be a part of it, but I also understand the political undertone sometimes when this question arises. And the explanation I give is the fact that if at a certain point in time, a government comes and fail to do what was his duty,
There is responsibility.
as government, whoever comes afterwards and clears the mess, it's an achievement. Because if a government had come like it did after that government and did not clear that mess, and another person comes and cleared the mess that was not originally created by its immediate predecessor, then for that government, it's an achievement. And this is what I mean. After Oyinlola left, Governor Oyinlola, who succeeded him, had the chance to do the same.
How do you mean that he had the chance?
Hold on. He didn't. And then he left the office before Adeleke came and then was clearing the mess. And when I mean had the chance, over the time, this thing I wanted to say, I'm putting up something on that. I should have not said it yet, but let me just say it. Over the years, they would say that, Governor Oyinlola did not have enough time to govern because his first year was mad with, tribunal case. His second year was mad with COVID. And then he had remaining 2 years.
2 years.
But Osun State is the only state in Nigeria where politicians have said that. The same COVID happened in Lagos. It didn't stop development in Lagos. The same COVID happened in Oyo State. It didn't stop development in Oyo State. The same COVID happened in Kogi, happened in Taraba, happened in Yola.
If it is not COVID, it could be by the process of the tribunal process.
How did this stop? How did that stop? How should that stop development?
The government
in Osun, in the Osun when Adeleke became governor, what we did in the first 100 days, we were in court. How should that stop development? It's a flimsy excuse, like you said the other time, either feeble or flimsy. So that's a dumb argument, if you ask me, because that it was in tribunal, was allocation not being paid. That COVID happened, was allocation of not being paid. As a matter of fact, Osun indigenes who were, well-to-do contributed money for Osun State.
Do you agree that what Oyinlola was collecting as an allocation is nothing to compare with what Adeleke is collecting now? It's times 10 of what Oyinlola is collecting.
That's a lie.
As far as allocation is concerned.
It's not times 10. It's
How?
not times 10.
Can you please explain?
When you mean
There
times
were
10,
reports.
hold on, that's a fake report.
That could totally be an exaggeration from a part.
That's where
They say it is double
it's a lie.
of what
It's a lie.
Oyinlola collected.
These are the issues, and that's why we raise we often raise the issue of propaganda and fake news on the part of Osun APC, and that's some of the issues.
But the allocation has been increased.
We are not saying it's not being increased. One of the things that we are saying is, number one, it's not times 10. Number two, it is not 100% increment. Let's be clear. Yes, allocation increased because subsidies was removed. And why did allocation increase? There's something referred to as exchange gain. If you check the breakdown of allocation that each state government receives, exchange gain is the variation between dollar to naira. Our budget last year was done at the rate of 1,100 naira. Eventually, dollar was sold for 1,400, 1,500. The variation between 1,100 and 1,400 is what the federal government is sharing on allocation for states, and that is the only increment that states receive, except apart from maybe interventions. That is the increment on allocation of each state. Now, Osun's allocation did not increase by 100% because it varies by month, right? And when Governor Oyinlola was in office, it was not like Osun was running on zero allocation. Money was being paid. The variation is about 40 to 50% increments. Now, bear in mind that inflation, as at today, has increased by also almost 50%. What it means is this: if in the days of Oyinlola, it costs 100 million to construct a road, maybe a kilometer of road, for instance. Today, with the inflation rate in Nigeria, it will cost 400 million. Which means, though the allocation increased, government is having to spend more money on projects because the cost of getting materials has gone up as well. So when people argue that allocation has increased, what's Adeleke doing with the money? This same country is being led by the same people opposing Adeleke. Inflation rate has gone up under their own government. Let's tackle that first.
Which government are you talking about?
APC government. Inflation rates went up when President Tinubu became president because they floated naira. So the cost of materials in the market is not the fault of Adeleke.
There was a report that says that this inflation, it is to our gain.
What gain?
The citizen.
How is it our gain when buying power has been taken away from people?
It is to our
People
gain.
can no longer afford basic things.
It is to our gain.
What is the gain? No, I need to know the gain. Because when buying power has been taken away, companies are downsizing, people are being sacked. So what then is the gain? I still want to know. Foreign companies are pulling away.
So, who would you consider as the best governor in Osun State since the inception of Osun, aside Governor Adeleke, because he hasn't completed his own tenure?
Well, if I would be sincere with my heart, and choose between the people that I had known had led Osun from 1999 to 2022, since you said Governor Adeleke should not be included, it would be Governor Oyinlola. Because I think to an extent that the state was settled, in his time. It came at a time when the former governor Bisi Akande had somehow fell out with his section of the state, and then he came stabilized things and all that, and then he was unceremoniously removed, and then we had Governor Sola, who, for some reasons best to him, took some decisions that affected Osun State in some ways. But we cannot also, that does not also mean that he didn't do some things that are good, as governor. And then we had Governor Oyinlola, who also came, at this time. He came in at the time when Osun was still unstable, after Sola left. And, he did his bit, even though I wouldn't rate him above Governor Oyinlola. So I think out of other governors apart from Governor Adeleke, I would choose
has done well.
Governor Oyinlola as one of the best that Osun has had.
Let's talk about you. People that have represented you. The present honorable, do you think he's doing well? I'm talking about Ara.
I don't want to talk about him.
Why? He's in your party.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him.
Should we agree that your silence for that is a no, that he's not doing well?
No, that's not my silence. My silence means I don't want to talk about the topic.
Okay, how would you rate the past honorable in APC?
He didn't do well. I fought him.
You fought him. So if you are fought that way, why don't you?
If you say that I should not include Governor Adeleke because he has not completed his term, I also would also include Honorable Ara because he has not also completed his term. So you can't rate him yet. Let him finish his term.
You want to finish his term?
Yeah.
Can we rate Senator Oyinlola with what the present senator is
Let's
doing?
not rate anybody that's current. Since you said they've not completed
Their
term.
first 2 years. Can we do their first 2 years?
No,
their first 2 years. Can we do that way?
no.
I want us to have a kind of rage. Let's have.
No,
What
can't.
has,
You see.
okay, let's do this way. Let's do this. Would you? The reason why I don't want to ask you to rate the first 2 years of Oyinlola and Adeleke is because you are with PDP. You are working for Adeleke. So I wouldn't expect you to rate Oyinlola above Adeleke. Right now, that's what I'm asking. How would you rate the honorable representing Iwo State constituency to the past honorable?
And I told you that, you see, for me, the outgone honorable didn't do well. And I made it clear to him when he was in office. The current honorable and I talks.
Okay.
Right? But I don't want to comment on him until he's done his term. And I would want to extend the same gesture to other 7 representatives of we
let me tell you the reason why I asked
national or state level.
The reason why I asked that question. A particular media body in Iwo late last year raised an eyebrow at the honorable representing Iwo that he's not doing well. That since they he came to power, he has not raised a single bill, just sitting down, collecting either maybe what they call allocation or not, or something. That he has not done anything. That's why I'm asking you, what will you say to it?
Well, I read their piece, and as a body that are also, that is also in the war, and they have a right to their opinion. They have a right to their statements. I, as a person, for now, would not want to comment about it.
Okay. Do you think Adeleke is coming back?
By the grace of God Almighty, is coming back.
How?
By the grace of God Almighty, Governor Adeleke is coming back. Now, you see, when we say these things, it's not because we are part of the system. But I'm not a part of the system. If you judge by the things I said in the article I wrote, you would realize where I stand for the next governorship election. Because, and I told you, things that we thought was impossible in Osun is being done. Osun was described to be a broke state too. If you remember in the past government.
Yes.
And they will claim now that, allocation has increased. Well, somebody said one day that, for the fact that this man is even using the money for what we can see, it's enough. So, for me, I stand with Adeleke for the next governorship election of Osun State.
When Oyinlola was leaving, he recruited a lot of teachers. And when Governor Adeleke came in, he sacked him.
He didn't sack anybody.
How?
He did not sack anybody. Let us be clear.
Where were those teachers now?
Let us be clear on something. The way governance runs is clear. Okay? And before election came in July 2022, there were a number of things that Governor Oyinlola could have done that he did not do. One of which include conduction of local government elections. After July 2022, when he lost the election, he then conducted an election for local government, recruited the teachers you are talking about.
He was still in power.
Hold on. The question then from the political school of thought was, why didn't you do this when you had not lost the election? Because the question now becomes, if he had lost the election, maybe if he had won the election,
maybe he wouldn't
have done it.
Okay.
So what this governor said was, okay, we are reviewing these things, but we are first of all reversing these decisions. For local government election, it was not only reversed, it was challenged in court. And the court ruled that election cannot stand. For those teachers that you were talking about, they were not a part of the civil service in Osun State.
On paper?
Yes. And so, government said, we are reversing all the decisions taken after July 2022 governorship election. And that includes some royal fathers, if you also remember. All that were reversed. And the processes were verified. The ones that are seen to be original or, okay, was proceeded upon. The one that was seen to be manipulated was readjusted. And so when the consistent claim is sacked, I wouldn't even, it's often in the mouth of political actors. That's why when you said it, I fled that no, he didn't sack. What happened was a reversal of all the decisions taken after that election.
Shola, you will agree with me that 2 wrongs does not make it right. And right now, we agree that probably Governor Oyinlola has made a mistake by recruiting them at the wrong time. And right now, 2 years down the line, why has Adeleke not recruited teacher? Because according to reports, we were told that there were no teachers in some schools in Osun State, which is affecting the educational system in Osun.
Look, the question of why has he not is even moribund. Because when the government came, a staff audit was done, and then a release was made that, we need teachers. And then the government said, okay, we're recruiting 5,000.
Okay.
And are you not aware of this? You are saying, okay, are you not aware?
You are in there.
Are you not aware of this?
Of course, we heard about the recruitment, but now
You didn't hear about the
We've
fact
heard
that they
about-
also did exams
they did exam.
and they did interview.
They did interview, but yet we have not seen the news that they have been
Done.
employed.
Hold on.
Many of them are
What is
complaining that they have not
left?
yet been employed.
What
They have not
is
been called.
left? What is left is that they would be offered, they were given an offer letter or appointment letter as the case may have been, and they will be asked to resume. I would only appeal.
When?
I would only appeal to
Because
applicants.
between the lines of what you're talking about now, Oyo State Governor has actually recruited more than 5,000.
Oyo State Governor and Osun State Governor are two different people.
I know. I'm
We're
just
not- we're
comparing.
not
I'm just
copying-
comparing. We are
we're
neighbors.
not-
I'm just
we're not-
comparing.
We're not
That what
copying
could have
Oyo
been the
State.
delay? What
We're
could
not
have
copying
delayed
Oyo State.
the recruitment of teachers?
Government processes differs across states, differs across local government, differs across federal government. All right. The Nigeria may want to do something and US is able to do it faster than Nigeria. It doesn't mean that Nigeria is a failed state. Oyo may have been able to complete theirs. It doesn't mean Osun will not complete it.
Okay.
And I can only appeal to applicants to exercise more patience because it is impossible for government to say we're no longer doing this. If a process has been started by government, it must be completed. And it will be completed in no time.
The OS that was started by Governor Sola and sustained by Governor Oyinlola. What is Adeleke doing on OS? Because it's a way of empowering youth.
I don't know if you
It's
are.
a way of empowering youth in Osun State.
I see this question you asked now, like the one you asked earlier. I'm not sure you're following the news, not sure. Because recently, the website for application of OS has been released.
Okay.
People have registered.
Okay.
Screening will be conducted.
Okay.
And a list will be released.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm
So how
surprised.
soon should people expect?
I'm not going to be giving you dates.
Okay.
I'm immediate to the governor. There are different ministries and agencies of government responsible for some of these things. Imala Youth Corps, it's now being called Imala Youth Corps.
Okay, Mother Youth Call. Okay.
Application has been made. The website has been made available for over a month or two now. And people have registered. Screening will be conducted and there will be the selected candidate or successful candidates will be given their letters and they will resume.
And it's not a a political base.
If it was political based, application will not be made open now.
Okay.
The website was created and it was made open to everybody to go and apply. If it was political based, they would just draw lists inside one room and you will see them working. All right. But if it's made open, it's an indication that it's not political. All right. And then just 2 days ago, the portal for Amotekun recruitment was also made open. Amotekun is also going to be recruiting now. It's still open now. Recruitment will be, they will apply, screening will be done, and they will also, resume and get the job. The Osun State, like I said in my piece before Adeleke, was in the state of entropy. When the particular subject is in a state of entropy, it denigrates. You don't pick it up and then raise it. You build it up. What is happening in Osun under Adeleke is that Osun is being built. If you start a building today, you don't roof it on the same day. You build it up before you roof it. So patience, because slowly and steady, we'll get there.
As a journalist, and right now that you're working with Governor Adeleke, will you regard yourself as a politician?
I'm not a politician.
What are you?
I'm a media aide to the governor of Osun State.
That makes you a politician.
I am a journalist.
You're a journalist.
Yes, I'm a technocrat.
But a journalist does not defend a government.
I work with the governor.
That makes you.
And I defend the governor that I work with.
Don't you
I
think that
defend
makes
the
you
decision and the policy of the governor. That doesn't make me a politician.
Okay.
I am a media aide to the governor. I work with the governor. And that makes me defend the policies of the governor that I work with.
Since you started working with governor, do you have any regrets?
I don't have one.
You don't have any regrets?
I don't have one.
Aside Governor Adeleke, come the governorship election, if Governor Adeleke is not contesting, who would you have voted for?
We don't know any other person yet. The APC has not been able to select any candidate. PDP is clear that Adeleke is going.
Between
no other party has.
Prince Baba Yemi.
Who's Baba Yemi?
It's a store out in APC.
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know Prince Baba Yemi. Okay. All right. I've been having a chit chat with should I call him Honorable Sola? He's a media head to Governor Adeleke on Beyond Me podcast, and we have been talking about the state affair And right now, this where we'll be wrapping it up on today's edition. I want to appreciate my honorable friend Shola. He has come here
Thank
with
you.
a lot of encourage
I
and
didn't come with any encouragement. I came alone. Don't start.
so thank you very much for showing on the Abiyomi podcast. So we really appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And to our viewers at home, we really appreciate your patience watching us talking about state affairs with Shola on Biyomi Podcast. And until next time that we'll meet on this another edition, my name remains Ben Peletu. Goodbye for now.